We're live.
Hey,
It's done.
we are live.
Yeah. Alan, take it.
Believe it or
It's
not.
all you, buddy.
Yeah, I got to turn something off.
Is
Not
it
my
me?
wife.
I was just going to say that.
Welcome to Watching Weird, everyone. This is my first time setting up the stream. I've never done it before. I have no idea if I've advertised it properly. I did it in about 20 seconds, so hopefully all is well. How is everyone? Scott, how are you?
Stressed out. This week has been Spirit Week at school. So, like Monday, I went in as Fat Thor. Tuesday, I went in as one of the students, which none of them liked because the teachers were having too good a time pretending to be lazy, phone addicted students. And today, I got a kiss from a lizard. So,
Oh, nice. Really good. What about you?
Wait, the first thing you said was you were a backdoor. What?
Fat
What'd you say?
Thor,
Whoa. Whoa.
Fat
Oh,
Thor, you wish.
Oh, Mike Lewis is here. So clearly advertising worked.
hey, Mike.
Nice. Hey,
It
Mike.
does.
Hi, Mike.
We kind of got put on the spot towards the end there, and I had to put the stream together, and I did not know if I did it properly, but there you are. So we did it. We're good.
And Rich is used to handling streams, so
Correct. Yeah. Landa, it's a sausage fest. That's
hey,
true.
Landa.
You're here. So,
Londa. Yes, it is, Londa.
so how you doing, Mr. Gamboa?
All right, I got my office back finally.
Oh, yes.
What was wrong? What happened to it? Why didn't you have it before?
What'd you say, Rich?
I said, why didn't you have your office before? What happened to it?
Oh, because too many kids.
Ah, right.
One moved out, so I'm up from the basement garage to. I got my office back. Blaine set some of this up for me, so because I didn't have time, so
Looks good.
it's nice of him. Yeah.
Hadley,
What happened to Hadley, Mike?
Hadley's at a graduation party tonight.
Yep. He fired himself. Yeah, Hadley's best friend's daughter who's family to Hadley, is graduating as a valedictorian tonight, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, her name is Claire. Claire Cresswell, I believe, and I can't remember the name of the school in Mississippi she's graduating, but she's clearly done very well for herself as she's a valedictorian. So that's where Hadley is. She said she would try to get on, but she's not sure if she can make it.
Fred is behind me eating a pig ear because the minute Rich's face came up, Fred came over and wanted to be part of the action.
Well, I do have animal magnetism about me. I attract animals. So.
You do, especially when you bring out that finger.
Yeah.
It is that time of year, right, folks? Graduation.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I've had someone graduate. I tend to forget. May is right.
My niece graduates early June, and
Nice.
we've got a bunch of kids graduating June 6th at our school. So.
Wow.
Graduating
You guys and gals remember when it used to be June 6th or June 5th for everybody? It was no May, unless it was a special circumstance or something.
Yeah.
But it was always the first week of June.
Mm.
And now, yeah.
Yeah,
I also remember, the seniors got out around mid-May.
See,
it came back for graduation. Same. It was, our graduation, my high school graduation I think it was like May 30th or something like that. So it was super, super early. But then, of course, now, I mean, like 4 years ago, my kids graduated, and it wasn't until August because of COVID. So they pushed it.
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to give them a graduation. And then their principal stepped up, and he really did a good job. And he set it up, everybody was social distance, and it was pretty cool. It was really good for the kids because we all thought they weren't going to get a graduation.
Good.
And
Good.
Dungeon Dan thinks I'm like some sort of deity.
God Christ.
Hey, Dan, I did their show last night, and we had a good time.
Oh, good.
I think it's going to air Saturday at 1 p.m. sometime.
Dungeon Dan and his cronies, they put on a good show. Was Angel there? Yeah, Kristen Vincent and stuff. Yeah, it's
Well, no, it was just Jen and Dan, but that was enough.
oh, Jen's
They want to
fine.
get all three of us. They want to get all three of us on there together. If we can,
Oh man,
they could rope us into it.
you're sure, Dan? Alan was a riot. Alan is a riot. Look at him. He's a riot.
He's used to riots. He caused a lot in prison.
So, as we're warming up here and waiting for the chat room to fill up and our viewers to find us here, do you guys? What's your favorite war movie? We've got more movies. Memorial Day is the weekend after next. Do you have an all-time favorite war movie? And it could be, excuse me, historical, sci-fi, cocaine crabs in pith helmets.
Favorite war movie? Kelly's Heroes.
I was just gonna say it's Kelly's Heroes and Where Eagles Dare are my two favorites.
Oh yeah. Well. Okay, yeah. Where Eagles Dare, I sometimes throw into espionage, but yeah, Where Eagles Dare is a close second.
But it's definitely a war movie as well. But I will say, what about you, Alan?
Kelly's Heroes, Where Eagles Dare is a great one, but I'm a weirdo, man. I love the bridge at Remagen. I mean, it just Dude, for me something I could watch that one again and again and again. I know it's not historically correct and everything, but it's to me it's a good movie.
Good flick. I'm a big fan of from Navarone. Nobody else likes that movie. I love that movie. And
I love that movie.
There's A Bridge Too Far. Talk about ass. That's like Black Hawk Down.
That's a great flick.
It is.
I miss those old war movies where they had these huge all-star casts like that. Longest Day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, The Longest Day. Yeah, Hamburger Hill's a great one, Alan. I love that one. I to me that one and Platoon to me are like neck and neck, even though it doesn't have the actors in it. There's only a few that are went farther.
Dungeon Dan says, what about Greyhound? He's right. He says
that was good.
That's a good flick.
Yeah, that was good.
I was a big Tom Hanks fan. So honestly, Black Hawk Down, what a great flick. Who wants to do that? You want me to do Black Hawk Down? Do you want to do the other one first? Let's do the other one first.
Go. You guys do the movies tonight, and I'll throw in my 2 bits.
Okay.
You guys can catch my bits.
Nice. Let me go get my colander. Hold on. All right, so I'll do Black Hawk Down. I did a little write up on it, very short. I kind of ran out of time today. So, you didn't want to be in Mogadishu, Somalia, in 1993. Black Hawk Down is a 2001 film about the heroic exploits of the United States Army during the Shortish conflict in Somalia. Directed by Ridley Scott, this is hands down one of the best war movies ever made. The film doesn't just focus on the people, shooting at each other, but tells the story of many different soldiers and pilots who think they've gone into an easy mission against an inferior enemy. What nobody knew was that a city of 2 million people run by a vicious warlord were well armed and pissed off. Starring pretty much every actor that's ever been in any movie, like Josh Hartnett, Ewan McGregor, Tom Hardy, Tom Sizemore, Ewan Bremer, Jason Isaacs, Kim Coates, Hugh Dancy, Orlando Bloom, Jeremy Piven, Eric Bana, William Fichtner, Sam Shepard, Ian Graffoud, Nikolai Coster-Waldau, and the friggin' kid who played Smalls in The Sandlot. Black Down shows no mercy when it comes to plot, acting, action, and terror. The actors I mentioned are only the ones I can remember, and everybody you will see, you'll say, oh shit, I know that guy.
Did you say Eric Bana?
Yeah, he's in there. Yeah.
Okay.
A third of the film is getting to know your characters, followed by 2/3 of the film depicting the pants-shitting terror of war. There is a bit of gore in the film as well, with the one scene in all of Hollywood that makes me turn my head, which is the leg wound scene. I have a big issue with it. I don't know what it is. I can watch zombies tearing people out, entrails being thrown, people blowing up, but this freaking leg wound scene in this movie where they're reaching for his femoral artery up into his freaking pelvis through his leg, it just gets me. I don't know why. So picture a famine in Somalia caused by a warlord. Then picture the Red Cross trying to help, only to have their food and weapons and supplies stolen by said warlord. I'm not going to say his name because fuck him. In steps the military with, kind of UN forces for backup. Different elements of the U.S. Army, including SOAR, Delta, and Rangers, attempt to capture some high-value targets, and a Black Hawk helicopter is shot down. More or less, the entire U.S. fighting force in the current theater is dispatched to help the soldiers, and pilots have crashed with an entire city firing on everybody. It really was an entire city. This warlord had tens of thousands of people to attack these poor guys. Anyway, that's the plot. You need to watch this movie, if for nothing else than to respect those heroic men who did what they did to both save the starving people in Somalia and their wounded buddies. Sadness, loss, and action are the story here, and your focus will be on the characters you watch. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love everything about it other than it actually happened, because it's really sad, and there's some happiness to it too. A lot of the guys do get out, but a lot of them don't, and it's just what happens to them and how it happens is pretty terrible. I highly recommend this movie, and I really want to know what you guys think about it.
I like the difference between these two movies is the attitude of the soldiers in the 90s, early 90s, and then you see the attitude of the soldiers in the 2000s. Two different, basically, wars.
Yeah.
Though, same kind of enemy, eventually,
Exactly.
it was, but this is an awesome movie. I read the book, and the book I had something in my eye by the end of that book. It really got me. And this movie got me too. Though I wish they would have left in some of the stuff that they did not film, because there's a whole lot more. But it would have been a 5-6 hour movie. The casting is great. You'll notice a lot of these guys are in Troy and Pearl Harbor, which are all Ridley Scott, either produced or directed. Tom Hardy. I love the part with Tom Hardy and Ewan Bremner, and I can't think of the other guy's names, where they're lost. And they're trying to hook up with everybody.
From the Sandlot.
Yeah. And the part with them trying to get the Black Hawk and the Delta Force snipers, that was really sad, because you saw TV what they did. You saw film footage of what they did to the bodies of those two heroic men.
Yeah. You know what? My dad turned it off. He's like, we're not watching this. We're not watching them do this to these guys. We'll turn it on in another half an hour. And they turned it back. He turned it back on another half an hour, and they were still showing. He's like, we're not watching them do this to them. I didn't really get it. I was just a kid. It is what it is. Oh, yeah. I was a young adult.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. And war movies we watch for the action, the camaraderie, and this one is all of that. And like you said at the beginning, it's sad that it's based on a true story. These guys did die. And the part where I forgot the soldier's name, but the first one to die, and it goes over the radio, and that just used the morale just plummeted on that.
He was the 50 cal gunner. That's the guy you mean, right?
Yeah.
He was in the Hummer. Yeah.
Can you imagine being his folks and being at the premiere of this and watching that scene, watching your son, what you imagined in your head, you actually seeing it. And and take it as a fun war movie too. Fun's the right word to say, but it's gosh, I'm getting lost here.
It's a good
it's a good movie. It's just a solid, decent action movie. The acting is great. I mean, we couldn't have got a better cast for this thing. Just a lot of these actors went on to do bigger things. Especially Eric Bana. I think he went on to do the biggest thing of all.
Yeah, right. He's very tall and green.
Yep. It's a dumb pun. But anyway, I love this movie. I'll put it on every once in a while and watch it. You can watch certain parts of it. that part where the guy gets the RPG in his side. Oh my gosh! Or
blow up. Ugh.
yeah, is it William Fichtner or is Kim Coates? Is it Kim Coates the one that gets blown in half?
There's half of them lying on the road. Tell my girls I love them.
Yeah, that's a rough scene. I mean, there's a lot of rough scenes in this, but it's nice. It shows the tedious part of war, and then it shows the horror of it. And sorry, my throat's a little gone tonight, yelling at geese too much. But but I like that part where Eric Bana says, this is my safety. To what's his name always plays an asshole. But it's a good flick. Somebody take it from me because my throat's just.
Go ahead, Scott.
I did not watch the film for tonight's episode. I didn't have time. I saw it before. It was very realistic. It really showed. I mean, from what I remember, this is when we started getting involved in these wars in these third world countries that were just going to wear us down. But the one scene that I still sticks with me was there was this whole attitude among the guys that, oh yeah, we're doing this, they can't stop us. And then when the 50 caliber guy gets it, the way that whole tone of the movie switched, just to like, holy shit, we can get killed in this. And then it went downhill from there. That scene has stuck with me since I first saw the movie when it first came out. And I think that was brilliant on his part.
Imagine the reality of that situation. Imagine that actually happening.
Yeah.
It's got to be, it's mind bending and altering and your entire perception of who you are, the fighting force that you're with, and the fact that, we're not perfect.
Yeah.
It's just the terror, the pants shitting terror that those people must have felt. It was just awful.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Alan Lasseter, Pork Chop Hill. That's a really good Korean War movie.
Agreed.
But yeah, because they were like, they weren't wearing their armor. They were.
Oh, it's gonna be a breeze.
Their whole attitude was lackadaisical because they'd been in this mode for so long. They go out, nothing happens. If they did, they were overpowering. They were an overpowering force. So, I mean, and then the reality hits them, and it's eye-opening for them and us. I like how they portray that. It's like bam.
Yeah, it was good. What do you guys rate it?
From what I remember, 4.9.
Outstanding. Big Mike?
Yeah, I'd give it 4.9.
I'm going to go straight up with a 5. This is one of my favorite war movies. And it's not just because the action's fantastic and the acting is really good. It's you actually really do, you feel for the characters and like in Ewan McGregor's character, he's a desk jockey that makes coffee. And one of the guys that's supposed to be, he's supposed to assist the door gunner on a Blackhawk. He breaks his hand playing ping pong of all things. And so Ewan McGregor finally gets his time. He's been in 2 wars and now he finally gets his time to go out there. And like I said, he's a coffee maker. He's not an operator, and he ends up being a total badass. Now, I would like to believe that actually happened. I wasn't there, so I don't know. And I didn't read the book either, Alan, like you did.
It did happen. It did happen. That was a real thing. But you want me to tell you something bad?
I'm absolutely going to read the book now.
Do you want me to tell you something bad about that guy?
I don't know. Do I want to hear this?
Yes, I do.
Is he actually a bad person?
He was arrested for molesting his daughter.
Oh, fuck.
Are you serious?
No, that's not. I'm just.
Yeah. In the book, it tells you a lot of the, what happened to a lot of these guys afterwards. And like the Eric Bana character was based on several Delta Force guys. but there was one chiefly in mind, and he ended up being killed. Uh, I think by a rocket or something on base down the road. So a lot of sad stuff, you know. But yeah, I hate to break that to you, Rich. Sorry,
Oh,
but
it is what it is.
that pissed me off when I read that.
I mean,
I was like,
truth is truth, right? So we get a 5 and 2 4.9s. That's pretty solid for a movie.
yeah, no, this is one I put on every. If I see it, I'll put it on just to look for a scene, you know, specific scene. I'm sure you guys do too.
I've got to rewatch it, but like I said, I just didn't have time this week, so I figured I had one movie and I went for The Outpost since I'd never seen that.
Well, what did you think of The Outpost? Let's transition over to that.
You know, I was kind of taken aback because when I started watching it, it was like, wow, this is really good. This is what it is. It's the movie is about this outpost. What was it? Camp Keating, I think they called it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Yeah. And it was set up. The sad part is this is a true story. They set up these camps throughout the Afghanistan country to keep eyes on the Taliban. This was this shithole little camp in the middle of a valley surrounded by mountains filled with Taliban. Sorry, whoever thought of that, whoever came up with that concept was a complete idiot. As you tell from the movie, in the first half hour, 45 minutes, you get the setup. You get to meet the characters. You get to like figure out, I like this one, I don't like this one. The commanding officer, the last commanding officer before it hits the fan, was just a complete total waste of a uniform. I mean, he was so terrified he wouldn't even leave his office to go take a piss. He'd fill up bottles and have one of the privates take it out and burn it. Which the sad thing is, you know, I know there's people like that. I ran into CIA chiefs that were like that. You know, they were there. They were, you know, oh, I'm the chief of the base, and they were complete idiots. The Taliban would have given them back. And then the movie starts to get. And there's this one guy who's reporting on the Taliban. He's an Afghani, and he keeps on coming in. Oh, there's 200 of them following us. Oh, there's 100 of them behind me. And nobody believes him. It was the boy that cries wolf. And then one day, several hundred Taliban come tearing down the mountain with RPGs, machine guns, everything, and goes after this base. And there's maybe 20, 25 U.S. soldiers there to fight them off. I've never been in combat. I've never been in combat, but according to friends who have seen it, and according to the documentaries and that I've seen, this movie was terrifyingly accurate. You know, they were getting it from all sides. You know, wounded guys would have to lay out there and take cover. You know, the Taliban had them in a 360, so no matter where you were, you weren't safe. There was like 2 officers that were stuck in a armored Hummer that couldn't get out because every time they'd open the door, snipers would start shooting at them. It's a brilliant movie. It shows you. I spent 3 months in Iraq right after the war. It wasn't bad, and people I know who were there later said it really wasn't that bad. But Afghanistan, if God was going to give the world an enema, that's where he'd stick it. And this movie just showed, and I think everybody at the base won some type of medal. And during the end credits, they were saying that it's the first time in like 100 years that 2 Medal of Honor recipients who are still alive received the medal. So It's a great movie. It is disturbingly accurate. It gives you a great idea what our forces went through in Afghanistan. and how screwed up the high command was. But I was riveted by this movie. Once the Taliban came in, I put everything I was doing aside to watch this.
Well, I mean, just the positioning of the base, it's
Yeah,
there it is, it's this movie is, and it's another one based on a true story. It's from a book. I forgot who wrote it, but I think he's written a few true life movies. Scott Eastwood plays what's his name? Romesha? Romesha?
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the name.
Oh, Romesha, the sergeants. And I think they actually had a prosthetic on his nose, and they did something to his teeth. Because if you look at it, he doesn't look all pretty boy. I think they were trying to maybe get away from a pretty boy look on this. But also, the base has a hard time keeping its commanding officer, its captain. First, you have Orlando Bloom, who's actually a pretty decent commander, and he's killed trying to move this big ass truck through the Afghan mountains at night. And luckily, Eastwood and Caleb Landry Jones, who plays Specialist Ty Carter, who's kind of a screw up. He's a Marine. He's a Marine that when he got out of the Marines, he went into the Army because he couldn't make it in the outside world. So he's having a hard time transitioning from the Marine mindset to the Army mindset. So that's a big part of his character. He's kind of a loner. The other guy, he's not gelling with the other guys, and that's his whole ordeal. And he gets out of the truck with Eastwood. Something was on the road or something like that. A dead chicken or something like that. At night, they're picking up you would have liked that, a dead chicken. But the truck, they start going, and the truck veers off the road, and it's quite a jaunt down, and Orlando Bloom gets killed. Then they get another commanding officer, and this guy is Milo Gibson. Happens to be, I think he's Mel Gibson's oldest son. If you look at it, you can tell that he's a Gibson. And this guy doesn't seem too bad. And they're walking across a bridge, him and I think his radio operator, and he gets hit with a rocket. Boom! Isn't that scene just like, fuck? And this guy's picking pieces of his commanding officer's, brain out of his mouth and stuff like that. And so then they get the commanding officer you were talking about, Scott, the guy that would pee in the jar and would have an escort when he had to take a dump.
Yeah.
And he actually gets relieved by nobody, leaving the lieutenant. I can't think of his name. Lieutenant Bunderman in charge, and which actually turns out to be a good move. And the higher ups decide to abandon the outpost, but it's going to be a couple weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
And Scott Eastwood's character figures, he's just like, this is how I would do this. One day they're on a patrol. He looks down and he tells the other guys, this is how I would get us. And lo and behold, that's what the Afghanis do. They were doing the same thing that he had figured out they would do. So they take out their mortars, which is their big defense, and they come on down and have a good old Haji time. And it's a lot of action and a lot of suspense, and a lot of dead guys. The guy that plays Kirk, the dude that he's taking a shower and he's up there naked shooting back at the Afghanis. Great character. And all the guys look up to him, and then he gets killed. And that's their Pella moment from Black Hawk Down. That's their moment when someone they didn't think could die dies, and it kind of impacts their morale. There's a lot of bloodshed. This one, it's impactful. Rich.
Yeah, I really like this film. It's kind of the same movie as Black Hawk Down. I mean, it's got more or less the same plot. with, or a subplot, I should say, of an overwhelming insurgent or enemy force that's attacking, a smaller amount of people. I think it was 53 guys versus 360 guys, or something like that.
Yeah.
And again, it was another character-driven movie where you really fall in love with the characters. You like you like the guys you're supposed to like, and you don't like the guys not supposed to like.
Right.
There's some assholes, and there's some really good guys, and some of the assholes turn out to be heroes, and vice versa. Some of the good guys, not so much. Well, I should say the people that you like, not so much. But the simple fact on this film is it's, again, kind of the same as Black Hawk Down. It's a great movie. There's great actors, and it's done very well. It's in the middle of they have this ridiculously small base. It's only a couple of hundred square feet or a couple hundred square meters. I'm sorry, in the middle of the Hindu Kush Mountains, in Afghanistan, and to do what? To look at, they're on almost like this pinnacle, and they just look over the valley, and that's their whole job. For what? To do what? It just, I like you said, Scott. I don't understand why they would have that type of thing there, that type of base, and you can't even really call it a base because it was just like an outpost. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So it was if you could think of hell, you'd rather go there than this place, because once you got there, it was a death trap. There was no place to go. It was like a week in every direction before you could get to help, other than, air power, which they didn't get any of. So it was a place that you likely had to go if you really screwed up in the military. That's the only reason I can think of anyone being sent there is like, oh, this guy did bad things with the general's daughter. We're going to send him to the Hindu Kush Mountains to get his ass blown off. I really can't think of any other reason why you would get sent there. But I mean, that having been said, this is a really good movie. It depicts some terror, just the terror of war, with people being extremely confused in a very small area and running around and trying to help and just throw lead downrange at the bad guys. And a lot of times, it was dark. They didn't know what they were shooting at. I like it. I think this is a movie that everybody should see. Just again, the same as the last one, to understand the heroism that happens in these actual situations. Because again, this is based on a true story. So it's
and I'm going to throw into the mix. Not that we watched it 13 hours about the shitstorm.
Oh yeah,
Benghazi. Yeah.
All of them had one. They had the underlying theme. We went into these areas not knowing what we were doing. No, we went in there thinking this was going to be Korea, Vietnam, Germany. We didn't know the culture. We didn't know the people. And upper command effed up every time. And these are movies about the grunts, the lieutenants, the privates, the sergeants, the ones on the ground who rose to the occasion, took action, and won, despite what was going on in the upper echelons.
That's a good point, Scott. I think that in both of these films, bad intel and bad decisions led to a lot of deaths. That perhaps they were unnecessary, but they were certainly impactful because it was sort of a domino effect in both films. Because once you get, you've got a larger enemy force, once your force starts dropping or you run out of ammunition, there's really nothing to do. Harsh language and rocks. That's pretty much it. So bad intel is just terrible. It's a terrible thing.
And, as the Outpost pointed out, if it hadn't been for that timely airstrike, nobody would have survived to make the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess we have to be nice to the Air Force now and then.
Now, this one was you like the camaraderie too of these guys. all the joking, the bullshitting, that stuff was just dead on. And it really made you like these characters, most of them. So, I mean, you could tell it was written by somebody that has been in situations like that.
Right. And that speaks a lot too. I mean,
and if you watch the movie, stick around to the end credits, because rather than have some great soundtrack, they interview the guys who were actually there. And some of them apparently starred in the movie or had like bit parts in the movie, and some of them were there as consultants. And, they talk about the movie compared to the reality. It was fascinating.
It's really heartbreaking when you see some of that, when they put that on the picture of the real guy, and then the actor, and then it tells a little bit about him or whatever. And a lot of that's, heartbreaking, you're just like, it makes it more relatable, and they could have used John Wayne in this one. And Mike, I think it's Mike that said John Wayne and Chuck Norris never die in war movies. Well, John does.
Yeah.
What movie did he die in? It was
Sands of Iwo Jima.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I love the end of that movie where he gets shot and then they read the letter. They think he's such an ass, and he's like how proud he is of his troops, and then they put the letter in, then you hear the dun 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 dun, and then they watch the flag go up. Then they all put the bayonets on the M1s and go charging into the fog of war.
Yeah,
those are the old
John
Hollywood.
Wayne. I know. Bulletproof John Wayne. No, I didn't know if you guys had seen this one or not. And
I never even heard of it.
Oh, really?
I think you and I had talked about this when it first came. It was like a year ago, I think it came out.
No,
yeah, that's right. We did. You and I had.
Yeah, we did, and I watched it then on your recommendation, and I thought he's right. This is great, and I just
this movie came out in 2019.
Oh, okay. Well, it was a recommendation from Alan.
Yeah.
Whenever he recommended it, I don't know, but I watched it then. And it was
that's why.
Really good.
That's why when you recommended it, I thought you were talking about that horror movie, The Outpost.
Oh, that was just atrocious.
Oh,
yes.
That's the one with Vinny. What's his name? I can't remember his name. But it's a fake zombie ghost movie. It's just awful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's total garbage.
I was gonna
Outpost.
Of course. I was gonna, if you didn't want to do that, because I think Hadley's kind of like, a little bit on the fence on it. I thought, well, how about Alien Outpost? Have you guys seen that one?
Refresh my memory.
That's one where
I think I did.
It came out after
Afghanistan.
Yeah,
I saw it,
and it's a B movie, but I really like it. But I thought it was done.
Right.
What happened
for
like an Outpost movie, because it's ringing a bell.
It's where they have the heavies. They call the aliens heavies.
Yeah, I do. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's all about getting.
But anyway, I'm glad.
Communications thing. Yeah. Okay, I remember it.
Yeah. But I'm glad you guys, were like, let's do this one, because it fits. It does fit. I mean, we could talk war movies all night long.
Oh yeah. I did not know Travolta could fly a 747.
Yeah.
Huh.
He's got one. I think he has a landing strip. Well, basically an airport outside of one of his homes.
That's right. Now I remember seeing the photo of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you guys see Wind Talkers?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
That was a great flick. That's a good movie.
It's a good movie, but I found it kind of historically inaccurate.
Of course.
I don't know enough about it.
Of course you did, Scott.
The scene that still sticks with me is when the flamethrower guy, the Japanese sniper, hit him and he just blew up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Imagine having that job though. Holy crap!
You only get 5 or 6 shots from a flamethrower. You only get 5 or 6 bursts.
I did not know that.
Wow!
You have to throw it away because it uses so much fuel for each shot. And it shoots up to 60 feet. Or up, I think even more than that. But its effective range is like 60 feet, so it might go up to like 200 feet. It was insane.
But that's crazy.
Every bout of flame was just. I was just looking this up the other day for something else. Every gout of flame was like a fifth or 20% of the tanks. It was crazy, and those guys were huge targets too. Everybody wanted to shoot at them.
Yeah, and then the 2 guys that were always with him protecting him.
Yeah. It's like instead of being the guy that carries the harmonica, in the marching band you're the guy that's carrying. Here, carry these 5 gallon gas cans through, and we'll keep you safe. We promise.
I'm on it. Yeah. Well, at least they got to the point that they'd start to put them. They'd have the tanks bring them up, and they'd have the big cots in the rear. So if it blew up, it wouldn't kill everybody in the tank.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I got to say hi to Tina because she said hi to all the sexy people, and I assume she was talking about the 3 of us, right?
I assume she was talking about you two.
No. Hey, we're not the one that had the long blonde locks the other day.
Beautiful, gorgeous hair and a hammer.
Checked it out today. I'm getting a kiss by a lizard. We had Korea Day, and they brought in like lizards and snakes, and I was petting this like 2-foot iguana, and he leaned over and he gave me a nose nudge.
Iguana. So did we rate this one yet?
Not yet. Please do. Go for it.
I'll give it a 5. I really like it.
Yeah. 5.
Wow, this is a good night. I'm going to also give this one a 5. This is a film that I'll probably watch 2 or 3 more times. It's really, really good. And the thing is, I didn't even know about it until you had told me about it. It was last year, the year before, whenever you said, "Hey, you got to watch this." All right,
it's not
great.
I mentioned it to Ash. He's a huge war movie. He never heard of it. He only watched it the other night in preparation for tonight.
So what did he think?
He liked it. He thought it was really good.
Okay.
I mean, it shows what it's doing for the last 20 years of warfare, what Private Ryan did for World War II. It's showing what it's really like. It's not these dramatized movies where if you get shot, there's no blood. You just fall down on the ground and die, and everybody cries over you, while all the bullets are passing overhead. And I don't remember the actor, but the young kid that was freaking out in the Humvee, and the officer was talking to him and giving him orders and calming him down. That was a great scene because there was a leader. That wasn't just a manager. That was a leader. So
happened in Black Hawk Down too. Tom Sizemore and the guy that gets splashed with the glass in his face. Keep your foot on the accelerator. Keep pressing the gas. He can't see. He's like, Tom Sizemore's driving from the passenger seat. This guy's just stomping on the accelerator. Same thing. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good scene. And that scene you were talking about, of them trapped in the Humvee. Yeah, I was thinking about that when I was watching it. I was like, man, that's good. That's a good little bit. And it's funny that you remembered that and mentioned it. Oh, that was pretty good. I guess this movie just kind of slipped under the wire. War movies do that though. Those be a real good war movie, and it just kind of, because not to be sexist, but a lot of women don't like war movies. Which
no, they don't.
So that takes a lot of your audience away. I mean, there are women that do like it. Tina will watch them with me. She doesn't like them because they're sad. War movies are sad.
Agreed.
So she doesn't want to cry. And I don't blame her. I don't want to cry either.
And the other one we did about a year ago about the Marine conscientious objector on Okinawa.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Heartbreak Ridge? No.
No,
Hacksaw
Hacksaw
Ridge.
Ridge.
That was
Yeah.
my daughter, Chloe, over there.
Yeah,
Boy. That's a good movie.
yeah.
You know, I don't know why you just think.
I like a good war movie, but I really like war movies that are historically accurate. You know, that show or are just like the Russians make some great war movies about World War II.
That
They're
freaking
just
Russian tank movie that we watched. What was that? That was good.
Oh,
They were in the prison camp and they got the tank.
I know
Yeah.
which movie.
That was really good.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a movie that's
That's right.
controversial. It's based on a supposed true story. I think it's called 28 Men. It's
That's the
about
one.
huh?
Rich, that's
Is that
No,
it?
no, the 28 Men wasn't about the guys.
isn't that the one, Rich?
I don't know.
No, this was about it was about like 28 men who were put on the front lines outside of Moscow when nobody thought the Germans were going to come through. And that's where one of the spearheads come through. And these 28 guys stand up to the German assault. And there's been a controversy ever since. Some people say it actually happened. Others say it was a propaganda ploy by Stalin. But no one's been able to prove or deny it.
I remember we watched a movie on your recommendation for the show.
Yeah,
It was a
I
Russian
remember
one.
that one.
Was it like the 440th or it was a number, right? Or something?
I can't. I gotta Google it. Hold on.
It was good though.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was good.
Just
Did
gotta
you guys
Google
see that Chinese one where they're in a warehouse
it.
holding off the Japanese? I forgot the
No.
name of that one.
No.
It's pretty good. It's totally historically inaccurate when you read what really happened, but it's a good movie to watch.
Alan, you're talking about Fury.
Fury.
The Fury.
Yeah, the Russian tank movie is T-34.
That's
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, and I looked it up. I didn't remember that.
Well, did you see that one back in the 80s called The Beast, where they were in Afghanistan and they were lost?
I don't
That's a
even
good one.
remember that. That
Yeah.
was
They didn't just have to fight, bad guys. They had to fight thirst. It was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, those women were horrible. Don't catch
Fury
me,
was
please.
Alan. Fury was a great movie for the warfare scenes, but I don't know why they put that 20 minutes in the middle where the new kid was, making it with the German girl. I mean, that was like, whenever I watch it, I fast forwarded through that.
It was for sadness because 20 minutes later she got killed. She got blown up in her house. Her and her mom.
There were only two things about that movie they say that were historically inaccurate. Was the first that the Tiger tank would have taken out Brad Pitt's tank first, then the rear tank to trap them. But they couldn't do that because, then you lose Brad Pitt. And I'm sorry, that was the only scene that bothered me. Why would the Tiger tank come out and take them on? It could have sat there in the woods and just picked those guys off one by one. But
Yeah, doesn't make for a good movie though. Doing that.
no.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
George C. Scott is again fairly historically accurate, but my favorite scene was fake. Remember when they go into Messina and you Montgomery's coming in and the band's got the big parade and that. And as they enter the square, the parade stops and he walks up and Patton and his people are standing there on the steps. The truth is it was two Jeeps, a British and an American Jeep, racing to see who could be the first. And the Americans got to the city hall 10 minutes before the Brits.
Oh, wow.
But I like the movie version so much better. You sound smart, George. I'm not going to kiss you. Pity. I shaved close this morning in preparation to being smacked by you.
Yeah, that was.
I've only seen that movie once.
Really? Oh, I love
I've
that.
only seen it once.
Yeah,
I got to try and rewatch
an
it
iconic
sometime.
film. It's pretty dated, though. I mean, it is good. Don't get me wrong. It's a good film, and you like, you stick your hand into a pile of goo that was just your best friend's face.
You'll know
fantastic lines like that throughout the whole film.
When they filmed it, they said that the reason it was so popular was they purposely made him historically accurate, but he appealed to the older generation, the conservatives that liked a good military commander, but his revolutionary, his always bucking authority appealed to the younger generation.
Well, look at Mike.
Do you think he was assassinated?
Mike Lewis thinks he might have been assassinated.
I don't think he was.
You think his Jeep just turned over?
I think it probably was.
Well, those Jeeps do turn over,
Yeah.
And you don't have roll bars back then or anything, so.
No, exactly. The old Willies.
Dunkirk. Have you guys seen Dunkirk?
Yeah. It wasn't for me. It was, parts of it were good, but it was just kind of slow.
Yeah.
Just all that running around was kind of slow.
I agree.
And had they done that well, that would have been a great movie. I like Colin Firth. I think he's an excellent actor. And it was just kind of slow. But the story, the Dunkirk story, is just, it's all heroism. They never had a chance. And it was great. It was really great.
I mean, the best part of that movie was the civilian fleet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And the guy the lead of that group, the one who was on that tour vessel, do you know he was the senior surviving officer on the Titanic?
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons. It was like, screw it. If I went down in the middle of the Atlantic, I can go across the English Channel.
I didn't know that.
Sasquatch Sunset. Why does it sound like a love story?
It's a Bigfoot movie with no dialogue.
Exactly. It's a family of Sasquatches that are trying to move from one location to the other. It's supposed to be a comedy. I haven't seen it yet, Dan. I don't know.
I was going to ask you.
Don't know.
Because you had that confidence behind you, like you'd watched it.
No. I haven't seen it yet. I was actually looking for new digital releases. Go figure. And that came up, and I was like, oh, that could be interesting, but I haven't seen it yet.
I've heard mixed reviews on it. Did you see it, Dan? Let us know.
Yeah. Speak up, Mr. Dan.
Mr. Dan the man. And Mike, it could have happened. He could have been assassinated. I mean, we don't know. Could have just been an accident. Dan said it's strangest, most boring, but can't turn off movie I've seen in a while. Sasquatch Sunset.
Uh-oh. That leads me to believe that I might want to leave this one behind.
Oh, don't worry. For the worst movie, when we do it, I've got one that makes cocaine crabs from outer space look like an Academy winner.
Rich, did you watch it? Did you watch any of it?
No. So on Scott wanted to watch it, and I was like, maybe I will. And then you said, oh my God, it's the worst thing I've ever seen. So I'm kind of torn. Scott, what did you think? Is it the worst thing you've ever seen?
It's one of the worst.
Okay.
But what's funny is the special effects are just plastic crabs that you buy in the seashore. And like somebody will pull them across the string, and you'll just see them moving across the ground. And there's one scene where they're under attack from crabs, and they're just throwing plastic crabs around.
Yeah, I just don't know about that. I don't know that I'll ever watch that.
Just, get yourself a big shot of whiskey some night and enjoy.
Yeah, it's like they got the special effects from Party City, and they didn't alter them at all.
Yeah, Alan, I have seen 1917. I thought that was okay. That was the one where they
Yeah.
filmed. It was just they never stopped filming. It just went all the way through.
No.
It was okay. I thought it was pretty good. It's about a runner. Was it World War One or World War Two?
Yes.
Yeah,
World War
World War
One.
One.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
And it's about this runner, and it was good. I thought it was okay. So, it is what it is. Did you guys see
It was
1917?
okay.
I don't know if I did or not now.
Yeah,
It's okay.
it's on my. It's either on my Voodoo or on my Plex, Scott. If you want to see it,
All right.
it's been a minute.
It's okay. I mean, I think it was overhyped.
it was.
Yeah.
I think the hype was that they did what those Japanese directors started doing, and that they never stopped. It was one continuous shot. I think that was that movie, and they just never
Yeah,
stopped.
it was.
Yeah. And that was the hype about it.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
that was a big deal. What do they call that when they shoot it in one, you know?
I don't know. Continuous. I have no idea.
Yeah, I
Continuous.
remember that they did that with the movie with Burt Reynolds about the porn industry. They did like the first 20 minutes was that. And everybody at the time thought it was great, but
So you mean the first 1 minute of the movie?
yeah.
Usually those movies don't go longer than a minute or two.
Like Lewis asks a great question here. He says, "Hey Scott, how historically accurate was Abraham Lincoln's vampire hunter?" Well, I can field that one if you don't mind, Scott.
Sure.
It was completely accurate because Abraham Lincoln was, of course, a vampire hunter, and he was also a zombie slayer, as everyone knows. So everything's true. True story.
The book was completely different from the movie. I love the book, but I also love the movie. I thought that was great.
The movie was faster paced, more action.
Yeah.
You know, the book was a little slow, but it was fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
Especially that last scene on the burning railroad bridge.
yeah, that was cool. And I got to tell you, I got a little something in my eye at the end of that movie. When he's going to the theater,
Oh yeah.
you know, because you know what's going to happen to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh,
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how did you like the play?
yeah, it blew me away.
Well, we're coming up on an hour, boys and girls.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm past 11 o'clock here.
Yep.
And
Holy
I'm looking
crap.
at just about 59 minutes or 58 minutes here.
We missed you tonight, Hadley.
Yes, we did. Anything to report, boys? Anything going on?
The Ghosts of Treblinka, the next Tatiana Paranormal that takes place at the death camp in Poland, is going to be released on Kindle this Saturday. So it's up for pre-order. Get your copy of it now. You talk about historically accurate. The flashback scenes of what went on at the Treblinka death camp are 100% accurate. They're taken directly from survivor stories.
Fantastic.
Oh wow.
You got anything going on now?
No, I'm just trying to bang out some books, some stories, and I'm working on that short story that, you know, unfortunately I'm in with the Civil War like Scott is on his story, and so I'm a little scared. I'm a little scared, huh?
Why are you scared? What battle are you doing?
I'm not. It's near the end of the war, last few days, and they're looking for the zombie queen.
Oh,
so there's no battles until they're just look. I don't want to give too much away. Not well. I guess it's this captain sent to hunt down this lady that's actually bringing back the dead. So
we ought to touch base because I have a lady who raises the dead for Pickett's charge.
I switched.
See, she doesn't care what side it is. It's personal to her. So
the theme on that is pre-World War One,
Yes.
and I completely switched gears. I started going with Fritz Haber and his and so Zyklon B and all that stuff, and it was going to go in a different direction and create zombies. And I got maybe 3,000 words into it, and I was like, I just don't like this story, so I abandoned it and I went with Vikings actually.
Oh,
So that's pre-World War One, and it's they're Vikings that are sailing from Scandinavia to the United States, and they come across some stuff that's.
Oh man, that's gonna be awesome. Vikings versus zombies.
So it's not just Vikings; it's Vikings and Native Americans versus zombies
Oh,
and each other. So might be interesting.
dang.
That's
It's awesome, man.
But anyway, I think that's gonna do it for us, unless anybody has anything else to say.
nope, I'm all set.
All right. Well, thanks for showing up, everybody. Smash your like buttons and all that YouTube crap that you're supposed to do.
Sorry, Dungeon Dan. The print version will be coming out a little later. I haven't been able to get the book cover back yet for the print version, but it should be within the next week to 10 days.
That's for me, guys. That's for me. Sorry.
I figured that. He's getting paid. Good night, everybody.
Take it easy.
Good
Ciao.
night, guys. Now we got fingered by Rich. The show's over.
No.